All right, Patrick. Baseball. I'm kind of shocked it happened. Actually, I thought it was going to take another few weeks, but baseball is back. The most interesting thing for anyone who didn't see like the full details of the agreement last night. So there's 30 player reps that represent the 30 teams, and then there's an 8-player subcommittee of like the Max Scherzers and the guys who are sort of in the room negotiating. The subcommittee voted 8-0 against the proposal, but the player reps voted 26-4 to ratify and went against their leadership.
After speaking with their players, after polling their players, those 30 player reps polled their players, and 26 of the 30 teams said go for it. I was just writing a column about that, and talk about a union that's out of touch with its membership. That is pretty phenomenal. That would have never happened in the Marvin Miller days, because Marvin, plus the other thing is, I think we talked about this, that 8-person committee, who's on there representing the Jake Caves of the world, the guys that, why do you have all the rich guys on the?
That's a fair question.
Yeah. Why aren't a couple of people? Actually, this turned out to be a better deal for the people not making any money than the
because think about like one of the biggest things here was there's like 7 or 8 or 10 things to unpack here, but one of the biggest ones is the players who are rookies all the way up to basically the middle of their arbitration years. Like they're not. And again, like I get that most people listening to this podcast say $500,000. Why are they complaining? But those players, which make up the majority of the league, got pretty big bumps in minimum salaries and get to tap into a $50 million bonus pool. Pre-arbitration guys. So like
the minimum went up to 700, and it's going to 780, right? By the time it's so when you end up on one of those people bouncing back and forth and getting 30 days in the big leagues during the course of a season, you get a little bigger check. It's it worked for those people. I had the same thought that man alive. I've been a union. I haven't been in since 2010, since I no longer as an official employee, but I've been a union my whole life. I never saw a union split like that, where Tony Clark better look around the room and see that he doesn't have long for this world if he's in a room voting 8-0 to not sell. And what did they? Do we have any idea why the 8 people didn't want to take the deal? What were they looking for? This is.
Yeah, I think. Again, I'd have to go and like do a deeper dive here, but I think part of it was they don't like the luxury tax. They think by putting a luxury tax and different levels of luxury tax on the biggest spending teams, that they are capping the amount of money that players can make.
Well, it's 230. It's up to 230. They went up what? 25 million, right? Wasn't it a little over 2?
Yeah. I think the main thing is the fact of what you said is accurate. So the middle class gets screwed completely. So the good young players get a good deal. The superstars are fine, but that group that has been basically screwed in the 2016 CBA continues to get screwed. And I think those are the guys who probably objected. The problem is the young stars and the veteran stars don't really care about them. So
the veteran stars apparently did, because they were voting 8-0 not to accept it. But here's the deal, and we've talked about this. Brian Dozier and Trevor Plouffe and those guys are not going to break the bank anymore.
Yep.
Trevor never did. But I was talking to somebody. Trevor had his real good year about the time the young geniuses were all taking over baseball and saying, okay, his bat speed isn't what it's supposed to be and isn't what it used to be. We see him as they just aren't going to go throw Brian Dozier an $80 million contract. And the 31-year-old guy that had a great year, those guys are they're out of luck. They're like the NFL running back. If they're losing a little bat speed, nobody's going to give those guys the $12 million a year they were giving them 5, 6, 8 years ago, right?
It is the opposite of the NBA, where the NBA has an overall salary cap, but then they also have caps on what you can give an individual player, even within the salary cap.
Yes.
Like you can only give Kevin Durant X amount of dollars in a contract, and that leaves more money for Malik Beasley to make $17 million, right?
Yes, but this is the middle class is being phased out, not because of some evil plot by the owners. They're being phased out because they're replaceable. Yes. Because there's a 25-year-old kid who they think is going to be more productive than. I mean, we all love Dozier. They were right.
Yeah,
they were right that he went from he'll probably get 80 million to he got 9 on the street, and it wasn't because they were being biased against the Brian Doziers of the world. It was because they didn't think his bat speed, he wasn't getting to the fastball like he used to get to it. And the fastball, his batting average against the good fastball became terrible, and that's why he didn't get his money. And those are the guys they want to get the money for, the 31, 32-year-old guys, but the ship has sailed unless you're a superstar. So
2023, we get the rule changes. Is that right? 2023, we just get the pitch clock. So we've got a year left of 315, and then we hopefully speed it up.
And I saw they're going to load up the doubleheaders because of the game. They're going to make up those games. 9 innings this year.
Oh, we're back to 9.
No 7 innings.
And we're not putting a runner on second base in extra innings anymore, which I am devastated by.
They are that is official. I didn't see that.
No, you'll just stop watching, Phil.
Yeah.
That's the last straw for me. I'm out.
I'm not a big fan of doing it in the 10th, but there's going to be a lot of us when it gets to be the 12th and they've been playing 4 hours and 20 minutes. Say, come on, let's have an emergency and put the guy out there on second.
Yeah. So here's kind of a full list of the. So we just got into some of the financial structural stuff, which I think fans can care less about. But there's going to be a draft lottery starting in 2023. So every team that misses the playoffs, or is it the bottom 16 teams, or it's something in there, those teams will enter a weighted lottery like you see in the NBA, and the 3 worst teams will each have a 16% chance at the number 1 overall pick, and they will draw for 6 spots. So that I don't know if that totally prevents tanking, but all right, it makes it.
Yeah, you really see. I don't see it as that huge a problem in baseball. I don't see tanking as a huge problem, and it's not like the NBA, where the teams you show up and nobody's playing.
Yeah, I think it's less about like tanking, and it's more there's just teams that financially have to strip it down. They're still trying to win, but they just have a crappy team,
and they win. Like the Rays are a case of a team that seemingly strips it down. By the way, we accidentally won the East.
Yeah, but the Rays don't get to this point and then strip it down during the entire process. The Rays are saying, okay, who's the relief pitcher last year?
Yeah,
that they let go, but he was losing his fastball was going downhill.
Yep.
And they moved him. They're proactive. They don't wait for some guy to, hit the skids and then get rid of them. They trade guys while they're still good to bring in better younger guys that they can control. But I it's not like, you don't go to many baseball games, and you see bad teams, but you don't go to many baseball games and see the team that the Portland Trailblazers put on the court, or the Oklahoma City Thunder put on the court, or something like. There's tanking. There's serious tanking there. So I don't see baseball as having it.
The 12-team playoff. I'm just reading this from CBS Sports. So there's going to be a 12-team playoff officially going forward. The number 1 seed there's 6 seeds in each league, obviously. So of those 6 seeds in the American League, the top seed and the number 2 seed are going to get buys to the second round. And then the 3 seed is going to be the third best division winner. And then the 4 through 6 seeds are going to be the 3
How
best
they
records,
finish
the
in the
wild
wild
card
card,
teams.
yeah.
Now, how
Yeah.
they're going to actually, I
They
don't know if
don't?
I've seen how they're going to format the actual series, though. Have you?
Three games in one ballpark.
Okay.
It's just like they did the other year, but they don't reseed. In other words, if three's playing 6 and 6 wins, then the second place team will get the 6th, and the first place team and the seed might end up getting 4. Getting number 4. So they're not going to reseed it, I think, because moving baseball teams around is a little tougher, than it is other sports.
So really, you're only advantage. So you can win your division. Let's say you're the third division winner. Let's say it plays out like this: the Yankees win 105 games, and the Astros win 104 games, and the I was going to say Twins, but let's go with a more realistic option. The White Sox win 101 games.
They play the third wild card.
So they could play an 83 win team
Yes.
in a 3-game crapshoot series, and their
but
only
last
advantage
year,
would be that they're the
Dodgers
home
won
team.
106 and ended up in a 1-game shootout.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah.
But the 3-game, I think the dumbest thing I heard of all though was Max Scherzer. This guy's supposed to be, he became $40 million a year, but he's in there fighting for his rights, right? And he came up with the ghost win.
Well, they use that in Korea and Japan.
Yeah, well, it isn't Korea or Japan,
It's a touche.
You didn't like the ghost win, Pat? Come on, I thought
So
that
so it'd be a 3-game series, and the top seed would start with a 1-0 lead, right?
Yeah, that would be his deal. If they were going to approve 14, they had to have the ghost win. So
yeah,
right, and 14 was the idea that you would actually get to pick your opponent or something like that too, right?
Which is so stupid.
Yeah.
Just assign me an opponent. Like,
you want to pick your opponent.
Manfred wanted that originally.
I'll take Baltimore.
The draft where you pick your opponent. That was
okay.
Can you imagine that?
But
yes.
Here's the deal. Here's what's going on set. You get down to spring training and you're going to start having guys slipping in there the next 2-3 days, right? And they're going to start playing games next week sometime. How are you going to have the pitchers ready for?
Are you scratching your computer right now?
Pat, stop tapping. There you go.
Yeah.
April 7th. How are you going to have the pitchers ready by April 7th? And so when are they going to tell us that every team gets to keep 2 more players when the season starts?
Good point.
That's a good point. Yeah, like who's going to be ready to throw 100 pitches?
Yeah, especially if we start off opening day with a 14-inninger with never putting anybody on second base and play for 5 hours, which is a possibility.
100 pitches. Try 50. Rocco will freak out at 50. We got to get that guy out of there.
Yeah, that's going to become the big the new crisis is how do you get your pitchers ready? So
okay, what about
this Twins rotation? Oof.
Oh God, I don't even get me started.
Well, wait till they sign all of the guys now. Free agency's open for business. Just wait. Come on.
I want you to know, Pat, that you and I have worked closely together for over a decade, and your teachings inspired me to, as the announcement came down yesterday that baseball is back. I just wanted to remind people on Twitter that the Twins are 0-18 in their last 18 playoff games. And people did not take kindly to that.
Yeah, that's right.
They told you to die in one case.
One guy did say he hopes bad things happen to me and my family.
Yes, on Phil Mackey.
Yeah, but they're not as mad at you about that as they are about your Kirk Cousins takes.
Although last night I got invited. I will say there's a Twitter DM thread with 50 guys who I would classify them as Cousins Crusaders, the KOC boys on Twitter, and I think we all found some common ground last night over a couple cocktails on the internet. So
well, I listened to your show, your daily show for a while yesterday. I was in the car, and I really hope they do something with that jackass here in the next couple of days, so you guys can shut up about it. I really do.
Shut up about it.
The older demographic does not enjoy the redundancy of the conversation about the quarterback. I will
No,
say
but
that.
it has been very fruitful to the
That's good.
The younger
audience of
demographic
Purple Daily.
loves it.
Just, I mean, let's face it. He's the non-vaccine hero, and that makes it. This makes it not only a football discussion, but a political discussion, which is the way to inspire everything. All reactions in modern America is somehow turn it political, and I think we got that with the Kirky boy.
Yes.
Come on, Pat. He'd be a great Colt. He'd be a great Colt. You got Manning, Unitas, Burt Jones, Kirk Cousins.
It's a red state. Yeah, it's a
that's
perfect destination.
They got the money, huh? They got. The money.
Yeah, they've got the most cap space of any team in the NFL right now. In
well,
fact,
if I'm them, I take him for 1 year. But I don't give you, where are they drafting? They're probably drafting 20.
They don't have they traded their first round pick for Carson Wentz, so they have a second round pick.
I was right about that guy. I'll give myself credit for that. I never have liked him.
I'm with you, Pat.
He's a big. He's got a blank look on his face. Like, what the hell is going on? That guy's like,
yeah.
But I mean, he's gifted athletically, but I mean,
he's a spaz. They're gonna be looking for someone that doesn't just close their eyes in their own end zone and throw a pass to a linebacker.
I do agree with you guys though that there's going to be a lot. Now, do they have to be compliant with the salary cap by the start of the league year?
Yes.
Or not?
Wednesday.
Yeah, compliancy.
Oh, so
for what?
When are they supposed
51.
When are they supposed to either pay Hunter or not?
5th day of the league year.
So they get 5 days into the league year?
Well, his roster bonus kicks in the 5th day of the league year. Yes.
So then that would have to become salary cap compliant too. That 18
yes,
they would have to convert that to like a signing bonus. I think they can do that, right, and spread it out, or just like evaporate the contract into a new contract, right?
Well,
they could do
Star
that.
Trek, you just evaporate.
Yes,
Where'd he go?
I think though. It is the I guess it is the most complicated of all the salary caps. Although the NBA is close, I think you could have to be
well, the NBA is weird because it's a soft cap, right? Like you can go over the cap and pay luxury tax. The NFL is a hard cap, but then there's a lot of confusing things about the structure of contracts.
I didn't see a box score, but did Harden play last night?
Yeah, he shot, I believe, 16% from the field.
Where did that come from?
Kyrie Irving decided to play defense last night and put the clamps on James Harden. It was
is that what happened?
Kyrie Irving is very much
hockey.
a defense optional player, and
Really?
I think he took it as a personal vendetta that James Harden wanted to leave Brooklyn in part because he doesn't like Kyrie. Yeah. And so Kyrie put the clamps on.
Interesting.
Well, I mean, they beat him by 35 in Philly after they booed the hell out of Ben Simmons.
Oh, they didn't just boo him, Pat.
They throw stuff at
Ben Simmons. They were saying bleep Ben.
So Ben
throughout the game.
Ben was out there for the pregame warmups. He's just out there, and there was a couple times where he would dribble, set, and then and like look like he was going to shoot, but then he would just pass it to somebody else. He took no shots in the pregame warmup. He dunked a couple times. He passed. Amazing.
I'll give him credit for showing up. Because he knew what he was going to get. So But
Pat.
I saw that score and I said, "What?" I mean, it's unbelievable that they put that kind of a. That would be the NBA would be praying for a first or second round series between those two teams.
Oh yeah!
Wow, that'd be fantastic to say the least. So,
Pat, did you see Jack Eichel's quote? Because he returned back to Buffalo last night with Vegas.
And took some shot about him finally making noise.
He said the quote was, "That's the loudest I've heard this place ever, and it only took 7 years and me leaving for them to get into it."
I love it.
Yeah.
I love it.
Well, that's good. So, anyway.
Hey, I need two more baseball takes from you here on banning the shift starting in 2023 and What should the pitch clock be set at?
They're throwing out 14 to 19. It's not going to be that, but
That's so fast.
I would guess, 22nd in all situations. But and when does it start?
I think
When
2023.
the ball gets returned
Oh.
to the mound.
No. Yeah.
I mean, when does it start? When
It
the
shouldn't
ball
be when the ball hits the pitcher's glove, right?
Yes. Yeah. Otherwise, they can just, if it's going to be when they get on the rubber, then they can screw around as long as they want to. Why don't you just make it 20 seconds? Let's go.
Yeah.
And if you don't beat it, what's the punishment? They want to know. 3 times you're out of the game. Do it 3 times.
3
Ball
times.
1, ball 2, and the 3rd time, see you later.
3 times. Let's do
Interesting.
twice.
I like that.
Yeah. That's
Rocco will run out there so quick to take the guy out after 2 times, Pat. Let's do it twice. You're ejected. See you later.
That's my other thing. Listen, no matter how old and fat the manager is, he's got 10 seconds to get to the mound.
Or why does he even
He
need to
doesn't
be
have
out
to go to the
there?
mound. He does.
Yeah.
That's the most
but-
ridiculous thing in baseball. Why do you have to go saunter out there, take the ball,
It's
and
so
this,
dumb.
this tradition of some sort that makes no sense?
And why is he wearing a uniform? Like, you're wearing a uniform, you're walking out to the mound. It's just weird.
Yeah, just wear chill boys.
Let me say this about the whole thing, though. This was legitimate labor negotiation. There was no evil from management here. There was no evil from the players. This was a legitimate labor negotiation. We're trying to say that Manfred wanted to break the union. I'm not a Manfred guy, but he knew he wasn't going to break the union. They ended up making concessions to the union. This was not some big, tragic display of management power. This was just a negotiation, and they both came out with a pretty damn good deal.
I will say, though, that he came out afterwards and said in comments that he has not done a good job of maintaining any relationships with players, and he's going to start to do that now going forward. So,
well, yeah, he has. I mean, because he's the guy that is seen as, he came into the job having been their enemy in the previous negotiations.
Right.
But to me, this was just a legitimate negotiation, and all the evil, corrupt owners. You know who's pretty good, and he keeps getting accused of being a management stooge? Heyman. Heyman's wired, and Heyman's a pretty good guy to follow on labor issues, and he did a good job on this thing.
Evan Drellick did too. Did you ever meet Evan Drellick when he was covering the Red Sox in Fort Myers 10 years ago?
I did. Yeah.
He's with the Athletic. Him and John Heyman were probably our guy Nightingale was pretty plugged in too.
Yeah.
People make fun of Bob because he's kind of weird on Twitter, but
I got news for you. Bob's weird in person.
yeah.
As a co-Wyomaniac that saw him in action more than once. But Bob's a hell of a reporter. He's got great relationships with a lot of players. So.
Yeah. All right, we should probably go because we have more Kirk Cousins to talk about.
Hey, come on, I'm waiting. Yeah, what time's that hit the airwaves tonight? 5:30.
Well, you'll hear. I mean,
1500. Yeah, 5 o'clock. Right. Yeah.
but you can find it. You can find it on YouTube, podcast platforms.
A lot of people go and consume us.
I wish he'd defect to Uganda or something and never be seen or heard.
No, we need him. We need him. Just don't forget,
he might be defecting.
Pull out the old Sony, Pat. 5 o'clock tonight.
Okay, that's it.
Turn us on.
I'll be listening.
All right. See you, Pat. All right. That's wrapping with Patrick Royce here. Every Tuesday, Wednesday, Friday, plus Royce Unchained with Judd on Mondays.